All right. I know we're probably not going to have time to do this as a lesson, but I really think we've maybe been missing out by just copying and pasting over from our slideshows. So today we're going to talk about how you can actually make this project work. Why is this an improper fraction to mixed number calculator? So I'm here. Hi. And I'm going to leave. Bye. Now here we go. All right. So first things we need to do is we need to set up our sprite just to say that when the game starts, when we click the flag, I'm going to start the game. And what we're going to do is we are going to set up all of our variables. So for this project, for this calculator, we have three different variables. You have in your mixed number, you have how many wholes are there, and then you're going to have your fraction. So your mixed number numerator and your mixed number denominator. Mixed number whole number, how many wholes, numerator, denominator. For the improper fraction, we know it's a bigger number over a smaller number. We don't do wholes. So we know that this is going to be the improper numerator and the improper denominator. If you go into your variables, you'll see that those five things have already been all set up for you. So our first step today is just to set them up. And what we're going to do is put them all into place. And we're going to set them all 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Mr. Stubman, they're all the same. I know. Give me a break. Just wait a second. Go down. So now I've got my denominator 0, numerator 0, mixed number denominator, mixed number numerator, and mixed number whole. Boom. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make those question marks because we don't know what those are. And if you press tab, usually you can go into the next one. Question mark, tab, question mark, tab, question mark, tab. Question mark. And that's all you're going to do for this character. You actually don't even need to have a character here. Like if you wanted, you could go into looks, have that character hide, and when the flag is clicked, you don't even see it. And now it starts our project out. We're just like, well, what the heck are we doing here? Great. Now we're ready to start actually making the project. So that's part one. So let's do part two. So let's just set up our mixed number. So what we are going to be doing is we're going to set this up so that when I click on mixed number, I'm going to tell it what my mixed number is, and then poof, over here, it's automatically going to tell me what that improper fraction is. So much of this is just going to be using our variables because variables are the things that change. They could be anything, my whole number. So to get started, we're going to say under events, when this sprite is clicked, when I click mixed number, what we're going to do is we're going to ask two questions. You're going to ask, we're going to ask two questions. I'm going to pause. We'll do three. So what we're going to do is because when you click on mixed number, it means you have a mixed number. When you click on improper fraction, you have an improper fraction. So we're going to need three questions and three answers. And the three questions we're going to need how many wholes are there, what's the numerator, and what's the denominator. So first thing, how many wholes, or what's the whole number? What is the whole number in your mixed number? Question mark. Great. And then under our variables, we are going to set our whole number, mixed number whole, to whatever we tell it to be. So now I'm going to tell it, hey, I've got 7 and 2/5. Well, my whole number is going to be 7. So I click on this. What's that? It's going to be 7. And you can see right here, boom, it pops up 7. Now we'll just do the same thing. What's your mixed number numerator? Question mark. And we are going to set mixed number numerator to whatever we say that is. So we said 7 and 2/5. So I say 7 and 2. And we see it's slowly building this up. Last thing, I'm sure you can guess it. What's your mixed number denominator? Question mark. And again, that gets set to the answer. Make sure that this says mixed number denominator. So now you're asking it, this is asking the question. I have a mixed number. What is your mixed number? 7 and 2/5. Great. That's my mixed number. Now we wanted to show over here what the answer is. Well, how do we find a mixed number? Well, the trick that we know and that we've learned is how many whole numbers times how many pieces in a whole. So if I know my chocolate bar is cut into 5 pieces and I have 7 chocolate bars, how many pieces do I have altogether? Well, I have 7 times 5. I have 35 pieces with the holes plus 2 more. So I will have 37 fifths. So that's what I'm going to want my answer to be. But I can't just write show 37 fifths. I want this to do the math for me. Well, how do we do that? Well, we know we're going to add and we are going to multiply. First, we are going to multiply and under variables. So this is what we're going to do. You multiply your whole number, multiply the whole number, and I'll move that so we can see it. How many wholes do I have by the denominator? And then we add the numerator, the mixed number numerator, right? So this is the math. Whole times the denominator plus those. 7 times 5 plus 2. And then we're also going to show the bottom, which we know we're not changing how many pieces we cut that chocolate bar into. It's still going to be 5. So that's going to say is our mixed number denominator. So now we're just going to set those two things because now there's nothing there, right? It's a question mark until we set it. So we're going to set the improper numerator, the top number, how many pieces do I have, to this. Hopefully I can make that work. Maybe I got to zoom out a little. There we go. And boom, perfect. And then I'm going to set my improper denominator to whatever my mixed number denominator was. So this should be half of our project. So now when I say 7 2/5, it should automatically tell me 37 fifths. Let's see if it works. Here we go. 7 2/5. 37 fifths. It works. We're halfway done. Isn't that amazing? So it's just doing that math for you. It's in a calculator. So you're all done. You can now convert any mixed number to an improper fraction anytime you want. But nothing happens when we click on improper fraction. So let's switch over to that sprite. Now, inside of this sprite, we're going to do something very, very similar. We have to ask it what it is. So we are going to need two different questions this time because we're going to ask, answer, ask, answer. And we're going to say, because now we're telling what's your improper. So what's your numerator? Question mark. And then under variables, we say set improper numerator to whatever that answer is. Zoom in so you can see it. Then, what's your denominator? And we'll set our improper denominator to whatever that answer is. This all happens when we click on this sprite. So now it's going to ask it and it's going to set it. So if I stop and starts with question marks. I click on it. It asks me what's my numerator. So we'll say 18 fifths. So now it says, I know my improper fraction. Now what I need to do is make sure it tells me what that is in a mixed number. And I have to think about that. Like, let's make sure we know what our answer is. So if I think about that, I know that 5 fits into 18 3 times because 3 times 5 is 15. And then I add 3 more, 16, 17, 18. So it should be 3 3/5. That's what I'm looking for. 3 3/5, because 3 times 5 is 15, 16, 17, 18. And we know that we keep our denominator the same because the amount of pieces don't change. So there we go. So we're looking for 3 3/5. How do we make it work? Let's find out. So the first thing we need to do is we need to tell it to get this whole number, right? We need to divide. Just like we did yesterday with our calculator, 18 divided by 5 gives us 3.6. Well, we want it to tell the 3. So we can do that by using an operator called the floor. So we can find the floor. So what this does is it's going to divide these two numbers. So we're going to divide our two numbers. We're going to divide the numerator, improper numerator, divided by the improper denominator, just like we did in our calculator, 18 divided by 5. And the floor tells me how many whole pieces there are without the decimal. So we're going to set our mixed number whole to that. How many whole pieces do I have? Let's see if it works. 18, 5. Hey, it works. We've got 3. We know there's 3 holes in that. Now we have to do the last piece, which is figuring out parts of a whole. How do we get it to now count up those 3 that are left over and tell us the denominator? Well, the denominator part is easy. We can set the mixed number, because we're working on giving up this piece right here, the mixed number denominator. We know that that's just going to be whatever the improper denominator is. That number doesn't change. We still want it to be 5. So that's just going to be the same. Now we have one last math piece to figure out, though, and that's how do we get it to divide and only give us the piece, the numerator, what's left over? Well, and there's a trick to that, and I'll show you in one sec. All right, and to do that, we are going to do numerator, improper numerator, mod denominator. And this gives us, when we mod, what it does is it just takes the leftover pieces and turns that into our number for us. So we are going to set our mixed number numerator, because we're trying to figure out this one, to this one divided by this one and just give us the pieces. Now let's see if it works. So we're going to try 18/5 and we hope we get 3 3/5. 18/5 and we get 3 3/5. That works great. Now let's try it the other way. If I click on mixed number and I say 6 2/5, we can see 6 times 5 is 30 plus 2 is 32. It works. We've got a full project. That is awesome. Love it. Thank you. Bye-bye.